Now, in the previous project, we added a sheet and copied stuff from one sheet to another. Now, another thing we can do, instead of adding a sheet that way, you can come down, you can right-click on your sheet, and there's a move or copy sheet. So I'm going to copy it. Right now it's saying copy. Notice it's calling it sheet 1-2. Well, I'm just going to call it, now I got to think of what I'm having you all call it, as long as it's close, and I think it's something like, 45 numbers or 45 observations or something like that. So I'm going to go with observations. Okay, that might be wrong from what we're doing in the project, but again, it lets me know what I have. And it's not the same name as sheet 1, and I want to put it after sheet 1. So, okay, so I am copying the current sheet. I'm giving it a new name, and so I say OK, and there it is. And you see it. I am on that tab, the 45 observations tab. Now I could come over here and rename this one 9 observations. And again, I don't remember that I called it 9 observations, but as my grandfather always said, don't wreck a good story with facts. The key here is that that tab is for 9, this one's going to be for 45. Now, the reason I'm doing this is we're going to see magic happen in a spreadsheet, at least I think it's kind of magic, is I'm going to go in here and say click row 4. I could pick row 7, I could pick row 9, 10. The 2 rows I don't want to pick are either 3 or 11. Okay, and I can make this a little bigger so you can see those a little better. But I want to be in the middle of my data somewhere, my observations that I made, my samples. Now, what I'm going to do is I need to highlight, I have 9 lines. I want to go to 45. 45 minus 9, 36. Okay, if you're not so great with that, you got a calculator. Equals 45 minus 9, enter, 36. See, there you go. I need 36 lines, so I'm going to start here in line 4. If I add 36 to 3, I get to 39. So I'm going to come down here highlighting until I get to 39. Okay, and I can always do it by trial and error, add a few, and so forth. And if I add too many, then take some away. But so I added all those, and I right click, and yeah. Okay, well, this may not work as nicely as I'd hoped. I don't know. Let's see what. Let me try that. I didn't get to insert lines. Yeah, I didn't. Okay, now the reason I didn't, I know why. Okay, and again, this is stuff that happens. The reason I didn't was, remember the whole array formula thing? That's a problem to insert lines within that. Okay, I can fix that in this case, and I sort of got lucky that I don't have to undo things. But notice if I click here on line 11, as long as I told you not 3 or 11, but actually as long as I insert above, I'm okay. And I think that's what Excel does all the time. So I'll insert rows above, and notice, see it inserted a row. Okay, Well, there's one of my 36 rows. Well, I need to insert 35 more. Well, now notice this is looking funny with the yellow, but we can get rid of that. So 35 more rows. 11 plus 35 is 46. So again, I highlight to the 46. Now when I right click, I have an insert rows above. I think you'll just have an insert rows, but it's above. And so there I have all those extra rows. Now, what's special about that is if I go over here and look at trial 1, when I look at the data, notice that it says A3 to A49. How about that, right? That's exactly what I want, and we'll fill in that data. Now, the other thing I can do to make sure I did this right once I do this, because I'm not sure if I did it right, I can come over here and insert a column to the left, and I ask you to do this in the project actually before you do all this other stuff, but you can do it now. And observations, and so I do 1, 2, and I'm going to highlight that and bring that all the way down to the bottom, and hopefully if I put in the right number of things I get 45. Oh, bummer, wrong, I got 47. Oh, I can fix that. Highlight those two, not the bottom one, okay, the ones without data in them, and delete rows. And well, that says 47, but I can again fix that to just say 45, enter. So there is, there are mistakes that I make in this. So if you get a little frustrated working on these things, that's life with technology, is you will get a little frustrated at times. Now I can take all these columns, and I can double click on this right hand corner, and it fills it all the way in down to the bottom. Again, you just need to do some kind of fill in, copy and paste, and so forth. But here is the magic. Because I filled in the middle of these data, and this then automatically went up to the cell I needed, up to B47, right? B47 right there, B47. Since that did that, I don't have to do anything more over here. Whoops, didn't quite grab the right thing there. So I come over here and I look at these trials, and notice now, they look like they probably add up to 45. Again, I can check that. There's a nice command called sum, and I can just say sum up these numbers, hit enter, 45. And if I copy that over, I can check all these others. They're all 45. I believe it, for trial 5. But notice, here's why I just kind of put these plots out of the way, because now these are also updated. I don't have to remake plots, and I can do that for my 45 observations. And now, I can do the same sort of thing. I could copy this sheet. Now, I think I'd copy this one because I've got the observation numbers in it and so forth. Now here, this is bugging me on this. I don't like that, so I'm going to go to no fill on the background. Now I could still keep that yellow, but I could also now make it no fill. But there I have the 45. Well, to go to 450, copy this sheet. Oops, wrong copy. Copy sheet, where is that? Mover copy sheet. And I want to copy, so I tell it to do that. I'm going to go to 450 observations, get rid of the 2, and I'd like to move it to the end, and I say OK, and there's my 450. And now all I have to do is come in here and add those, you know, I have 45, so 450 minus 45 is 405. I need to add 405 lines. And I do that the same way. That'll be, if I start here at 11, 10 plus 405 is 415, and I can start at the 11 because I'm not inside that stuff. You know, I could start at the 20 or wherever. But again, I highlight, and I'm not going to finish this whole thing. Well, maybe I will. I don't know. It doesn't take long. This is just to show that, you know, if you practice with these things. So I needed 400. Whoops, I went too far. I'm at 460 and so forth. I needed to go to 415, I think. So I go to 415. Again, if I'm wrong, that's okay. And I say insert those rows above. And so it did it. And I go all the way back to the top. Now, this isn't really a formula, so you know, I just have to drag it down or enter those numbers somehow. But you know, so I drag that down. It's updating the way I want. And if it didn't, I'd grab 2 of them or so. And I come down here, I get to the end, and this time I did it right, 450. I come up to the top, and now these are formulas that I can fill in, so I'm just going to do that little nifty little trick, highlight all of those, come over here to the bottom right, double click, and there, everything updated. You can see here trial 1, trial 2, and so forth, lots of numbers that are bigger. And I look at my bar charts, and there they are. Don't those look much better? Okay, they're starting to look much squarer. And again, that's the point of doing more observations. But so it's not that difficult. It does take some practice to get fast at it. But notice I did that pretty fast. You may not like watching the video for however many minutes this is going, but in the end, it was fast, right? And so it just doesn't take that long in using technology. And I even screwed a couple things up, but I fixed them very quickly, and we've got our numbers. So there you go. There is some nifty ways of using the copy a sheet and then filling in the middle of your data is a great way to update things. Okay, so we'll call that good.